everyone, and welcome back to another informative video. Today, we're going to talk about something very important in our daily and professional lives: smartness. We all want to be smart, right? But here's the truth. Smartness isn't something you're always born with. Sure, some people might be naturally gifted, but the good news is that anyone can develop their smartness and become more intellectual. First, let's understand, what exactly is smartness? Is it the ability to solve math problems? Is it about answering any question instantly? Or maybe reading an entire book in just a week? The truth is, you can learn to solve math problems if you practice and understand them well. You can finish a book in a week if you stay consistent. In fact, you can do anything if you have the urge and dedication to learn it. So what does that tell us? Smartness is the realization that not knowing or doing something now doesn't mean you'll never be able to. It's about having the mindset to grow, learn, and improve consistently. And that realization begins with one powerful skill: your decision-making ability. You might be thinking, how can we improve our decision-making skills? Well, the answer is yes, you can. Today, we're going to explore some powerful improvement methods inspired by the best-selling book Thinking, Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel Prize-winning psychologist who changed the way we understand how the mind works. Before starting it, I would strongly recommend you to read this book. So, without further delay, let's get started. Okay, so first of all, let's understand your brain. 1. How exactly is your brain thinking? 2. And do you even want your brain to think its own way? So let me answer the first question. Your brain has two characters inside. One is System 1. It's super quick, makes decisions in a second, and doesn't like thinking too hard. The other is System 2. It's smart, takes time, and double-checks everything before acting. They work together in your head. But System 1 is in charge most of the time, and while it's fast, it makes a lot of mistakes. This is how your brain can actually trick you without you even realizing it. The big problem is that System 1 wants to go fast. It guesses, uses shortcuts, and doesn't like to think deeply. System 2 wants to be careful. It checks the facts and tries to make smart choices. But System 1 is lazy and often takes control. So even when you think you're making a smart choice, it's often just System 1 guessing quickly. This battle between speed and accuracy happens in your brain all the time, like, should I study or just guess the answers? Do I really understand this, or am I just going with what feels right? Your brain also tells you stories that aren't 100% true, but they help you live your life. For example, you believe if you study hard, you'll always get good marks. That's not always true, but it keeps you motivated. You think someone is smart just because they're good at one thing, like football, even if you don't know the rest of their life. These are called useful fictions. They aren't completely accurate, but they make life easier and faster to deal with. To make better decisions, you need to slow down, ask questions, and let System 2 do more of the thinking. So now let's talk about System 2. System 2 is responsible for focusing attention and solving problems. It kicks in when you do things like solving math problems, making decisions, or resisting temptations. You can only focus on a limited number of things at once. Your attention is like a flashlight. If you shine it in one place, the rest is in the dark. When your attention is busy, you miss other things. This is called inattentional blindness, like when you're texting and miss something happening right in front of you. Mental effort is like muscle effort. It tires you out. Concentrating for too long can make you feel drained, and your brain starts making more mistakes. Simple example. Solving 2 plus 2 is easy. System 1 does it instantly. Solving 17 times 24? You need to stop, think, and work it out. That's System 2, and it takes effort. Your brain gets tired when it works hard. The more focused the task, the more effort it takes, and the easier it is to get distracted or make mistakes. Your smart brain doesn't always take charge because it's lazy. To make better choices, you have to wake up System 2 and force yourself to think. It's like going to the gym for your brain. So, next time you feel like going with your first guess or gut feeling, pause and ask, is my lazy controller taking a nap right now? That's how you start thinking like a pro. Your brain is like a super-fast search engine. The moment something happens or you hear a word, your brain instantly starts connecting it to other things. Memories, emotions, sounds, images, and ideas. What is the associative machine? It's a fancy name for how your System 1, fast thinking, works. When you see, hear, or feel something, your brain automatically starts making connections, even if you don't tell it to. This happens instantly, automatically, without effort. Let's say I say the word dog. What popped into your mind? Maybe a picture of a dog, the sound woof, a memory of your pet, the word bone, or puppy. That's the associative machine at work. Your brain linked the word dog to many related things, all without you trying. How to be smarter with it. 1. Pause and ask, why did I just think that? 2. Be aware of your first reaction. It may come from associations, not facts. 3. Let System 2, your slow brain, take over when things are important or feel tricky. 4. Check your feelings. Are they coming from real information or just a strong association? 5. Be open to being wrong. System 1 makes fast guesses, not careful answers. Now there is a chapter here in this book called Cognitive Ease. What is cognitive ease? When your brain feels relaxed, it's in a state called cognitive ease. When your brain feels confused, uncertain, or something is hard to process, it's in cognitive strain. This chapter is all about how your brain behaves differently depending on which state it's in and how it affects your thinking, choices, and beliefs. Cognitive ease means things feel easy to understand, familiar, safe, smooth. For example, reading a sentence in big, clear font, easy. Listening to a song you know, easy. Solving a riddle you've heard before, easy. When things feel easy, your brain goes, everything's fine. I don't need to think too hard. But that's the trick. Just because something feels easy doesn't mean it's true or right. What is cognitive strain? Cognitive strain means your brain feels confused, uncertain, unfamiliar. Tired examples. Reading blurry text. Trying to understand a new math formula. Meeting someone with a difficult accent. Looking at a word you don't recognize. When your brain feels strained, it switches into careful mode. Wait, something feels off. Better double-check this. This is when System 2, slow, logical thinking, wakes up. Have you ever met just two people from a place and thought, wow, everyone from there must be like this? Maybe you met two rude kids from another school and assumed the whole school is rude. That's a mistake almost everyone makes. And it's exactly what the law of small numbers is all about. It sounds like a fancy name, but it's really just a trick your brain plays on you. The idea is simple. When we see a small amount of information, we think it tells us the whole story. But it doesn't. A small sample doesn't show us the full picture, and that can lead to wrong beliefs and bad decisions. Let me give you a fun example. Imagine you flip a coin 5 times, and it lands on heads 4 times. You might say, "Hey, this coin is broken." But if you flip it 100 times, you'll see it's pretty fair, around 50-50. You just saw a small part and thought it was enough to judge everything. Or think about cricket. A new player scores 2 centuries in his first 2 games. Suddenly, everyone says he's the next superstar. But after 10 more games, he's just average. What happened? Well, those first 2 games were just a lucky start. Not the full story. People got excited too early because they trusted a small sample. Life works the same way. You need more examples, more experiences, more time, before you can say what's really going on. So next time you hear someone say, "This always happens," or "Everyone is like this," based on just 1 or 2 things, stop and think. Are they falling for the law of small numbers? Now you know better. Don't be tricked by tiny samples. Be patient, look at more data, and then decide. Because the truth takes a little more than just a quick first look. So, let me tell you a little secret about your brain. It can be really smart, but sometimes it takes shortcuts that lead to totally wrong conclusions. One of those shortcuts is something called the availability heuristic. Don't worry about the fancy name. It simply means your brain decides what's important or common based on what's easiest to remember. Let's say you watch the news, and suddenly you see 5 plane crashes in 1 week. It's shocking. It's scary. It sticks in your head. Then someone asks you, "What's more dangerous, flying or driving?" Without thinking too much, you might say, "Flying." Why? Not because it's true. Flying is actually way safer than driving. But because those crashes are fresh in your mind. You saw them. You felt something when you saw them. And now your brain thinks, "This must happen a lot." That's how your brain plays tricks on you. Let me give you another example. You're scrolling through YouTube, and you watch 3 shark attack videos in 1 day. Then your family plans a beach trip, and someone asks, "Do you think it's safe to swim?" Your brain flashes those shark attacks, and suddenly you're like, "No way, it's dangerous." But the truth is, shark attacks are super rare, like getting hit by lightning rare. You just feel like they're common because you saw them recently. Even Kahneman, the guy who wrote Thinking Fast and Slow, ran an experiment like this. He asked people whether there are more words that start with the letter K, or more words that have K as the 3rd letter. Most people said words that start with K, like king, kite, or kind. But actually, there are more words with K in the 3rd position, like make or bake. So why do people get it wrong? Because it's easier to think of words that start with K. That's the whole point. Your brain picks what comes to mind easily and assumes it's more true. Let me tell you something interesting about the way we make decisions. You might think that when we make choices, especially important ones, we're logical. We weigh all the facts, and we do what's best for us, right? Well, not always. In fact, a lot of the time, we make decisions based on how something feels, not just what it is. It's all about choices, values, and the way our minds can be influenced without us even noticing. Let's take a simple example. Imagine there's a deadly disease spreading, and scientists have created 2 different medicines. Here are your options. Medicine. A will definitely save 200 out of 600 people. Medicine B has a 1 in 3 chance that all 600 people will be saved, and a 2 in 3 chance that no one will be saved. Now, most people choose the first one. It just feels safer, more certain. But now, let me show you the same options, worded differently. Option A, 400 people will definitely die. Option B, there's a 1 in 3 chance that no one will die, and a 2 in 3 chance that all 600 will die. This time, most people choose option B, even though, believe it or not, the math is exactly the same. That's called the framing effect. The way a choice is framed, the words used, the emotion behind them, can change your decision, even if the options haven't really changed. It's like someone putting a filter on a photo. The picture is the same, but suddenly it looks warmer, brighter, or cooler, and that changes how you feel about it. That's what a frame does to a choice. Now, Kahneman and his research partner Tversky went even deeper and created something called prospect theory. Sounds technical, but it's actually super relatable. They discovered something that's very human. We don't treat wins and losses the same way. Imagine you win 100 rupees. That feels good. But now imagine you lose 100 rupees. Off. That hurts. And here's the thing. The pain of losing feels stronger than the joy of winning. That's called loss aversion. Our brains are naturally more sensitive to loss than to gain. So we do things, sometimes risky things, just to avoid losing. But when we're gaining, we play it safe. That's why sometimes people gamble more when they're losing. They're trying to win back what they lost. And why they back off when they're already winning? Afraid to lose what they've gained. This also explains why two statements that mean the same thing can sound totally different to us. Think about this. You have a 90% chance of surviving. Sounds pretty good, right? You have a 10% chance of dying. Suddenly, that sounds scary. But it's the same number, same math, different frame. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, it's that our decisions aren't always logical. We're not robots. We're humans. We're emotional. And the way a choice is presented to us, the words used, the mood it creates, can totally shift what we choose. So, if you want to get better at making smart choices, here's what you can do. Slow down. Ask yourself, is this option being framed in a way that's playing with my emotions? Try flipping the sentence around. Look at both versions, the positive one and the negative one. And then ask, would I still make the same decision? When you can see through the frame, when you recognize how your emotions are being triggered, that's when you take control. That's when your choices become wiser. Because in the end, how something feels shouldn't always decide how you act. Understanding the frame lets you step outside the illusion and make decisions that are really yours.